certainly our gospel passage for this weekend fits into our process of reaffirming and renewing that we're going through last weekend and this weekend. Last week with the ministry fair, and then the letter I sent you, and this week as we make a commitment to this parish community. It's easy for us to want to be served, but sometimes when the tables are turned and we're asked to be of service, we can find all kinds of excuses. That's why we take this weekend to ask ourselves for some honesty in our relationship with our God and in our relationship with this parish community of St. Joseph's, to see whether or not we have been on that journey of deepening that relationship and continue to give as the Lord has given to us. We mentioned last week that this weekend there would be speakers at all of our masses, parishioners who would get up and share. And at this Mass, we have Pat and Alan Knittel, who would like to come and share part of their story of St. Joseph's Parish with all of you.
Good evening. My name is Alan. I would like to share with you how the power of prayer has worked for me, and listening to the words Bill God given us talents and work for me also. Before I started school, I decided that I wanted to be an altar server. And back in those days, you had to learn Latin before you could be an altar boy, so it was quite an undertaking learning the Latin, because not only did you need to learn the Latin, but you needed to learn the interpretation according to the priest that we had, and it was very rewarding to learn both. And I learned this at St. Joe's in Cabring. Went to church on a daily basis after I was able to serve until I started this school, and of course I couldn't go in the morning, but then again, as soon as summer hit, I would take my turns, and there were several of us, and we'd take turns and be altar servers during the week. My family would help with the church, and they would recruit people to help, and of course they wanted me to help because it was a good way to explore your talents, learn your talents, and grow your talents. So we did quite a few repairs and maintenances at the church. And then at one point, the parishioners decided that our parish hall was getting really bad. So we decided to build one. So the parishioners and all of us got together and we built ourselves a new parish hall. It was very rewarding and fulfilling. I feel that I'm blessed today by all the trades that I have learned, by those trades starting me out and learning them, and then I kind of grew into some more. Now I'm trying to pay it back, give some of my talent back to the church and the things that I've learned. Then I went on to the military, and the military was very fortunate. I was in a helicopter with the chaplain most of the time. I would go do some service work, and then we would do a Mass afterwards. So I got to go to daily Mass again, and it really did help me. It stabilized me and helped me with my prayers and guided me through my life. Then I returned home, and when I returned home, I learned that the family had started mowing the cemetery in the church, and we're doing landscaping work. So we picked up a little bit more, but we were serving our community. And then from there, I was on the parish council and did some more service work and continued to help out wherever we possibly could. And then as things changed, we moved to Bradley, we moved off the farm, moved to Bradley, and we tried out the churches in the area, and we went to all of them. And for us, we decided that St. Joe's was probably the best because there was more participation here than there was the other churches. So it was what we decided to do. And then, plus, there was quite a few people that was in the Hebrew camping area that was attending church here. So that also helped. Then later on, we had to move to Bonneville because we had to get a handicap place for my mom, and my mom moved in with us. And, you know, we waited out and we still said, Bradley's still the place to go. We're going to St. Joe's. So that's what we continue to do, and I still do today. I lost my mom and Patty. I knew that there was a loss. I'm back to my risen Mass and started going to Mass every day. And then all at once it hit me that I was looking outside the church and the grounds and stuff, and I could hear my grandfather talking to me saying, okay, it's time that those weeds go. So, okay, I decided that that was something that I could work on. It would fulfill my time, and it would help me. And it did. So then later on, as winter started to hit and stuff, my back started bothering me. Before that, my back wasn't bothering me, and I do have quite a bit wrong with my back. So being the kind of person I am, I got to find out why is it that my back is not bothering me when I bend over. Because I started bending over to try to touch my toes. I couldn't touch my toes, but bending over made my back better. So I'm going to ask the doctor about this. So I did. And I met with the doctor the next time, the neurologist. I says, well, I've been having trouble with my back, and then I started to bend over, and my back got better. And he thought for a second, he goes, well, I'm going to tell you right now, Al, it's not bending over that's helping your back. Look up and thank God for what you got. You got a gift. So that's what I'm trying to do. From then I decided, well, I need to get a little more involved with the church. So I joined Arts and Environment, and then I joined the cleaning crew. And then I went and joined the Holy Name. And then from there we went to the Knights and Eucharistic Minister. And then Father said that I should come to the Finance Committee. So I'm on that. And I also try to work projects at the church, just like projects that I did when I was working. And then I was still, a little bit lost because I lost family members. So all at once in the mail came this little pamphlet, and it said, "Be joyful again." And it come from the diocese. Normally, if I got something like that, I'd throw it away, but since it was from the diocese, I decided that, maybe I should read this over and give it some thought and a little prayer. So I read it over, gave it some thought and prayer, and I thought about it for a while, and I kind of stuck it to the back a little bit, and then all at once, I got picked up Sunday bulletin like I always do and read it, but I don't always read the ads. And for some reason, this Sunday after church, I read the ads, and I seen Catholic Match, and I thought, Catholic Match? Oh, maybe that's not too far-fetched, because if I'm going to be with somebody, I need to be with somebody that's deeply involved with the church and the church beliefs. So here's Pat, and she'll go on to...
So we did meet by being on Catholic Match. I lost my husband also after a long illness, so we both had that in common. But a big thing on our profiles was we were both looking for someone who would also be very involved in their church and their faith and be an active member of a parish. I was, and I knew that I wanted someone who would be with me. As a young mom, I was very involved in my own parish, and it was very fulfilling. I would find things to volunteer for that I could do with the kids. And some of the things were filling Easter baskets to send to shelters, serving food at pads shelters, sorting gifts for the giving tree. And when they were older, we went on mission trips a few years, and we built houses for Habitat for Humanity. As they got even older, they started finding their own service projects. and I got involved in various parish activities. Even though I was dealing with my husband's medical issues at home, and I was teaching full-time throughout all of this, I felt that my activities at church gave me more than I was giving. I felt I was able to show appreciation and thankfulness for all the things that I had in my life. I also knew that I was passing on the tradition of doing service to my children, just like my parents had done for me. I try to look at what's out there and pick things that I would be good at and interested in. You know, I don't sign up for things that I know I wouldn't enjoy. The first Mass here, when I came with Al, it was perfect. The songs were some of my favorites, and the readings were too, and the sermon hit home. You guys had me at the first Mass. I lived an hour away, and I was torn about moving away from my old parish. I was comfortable there, but St. Joe's was very warm and welcoming. I started reading the bulletin and looking for things that I could do in the parish. Al was already working outside, and I like gardening, so I joined in, and I've learned more weeds and what are clearly flowers and what aren't. There's a lot that are weeds. That came under arts and environment. So when they were looking for people to help decorate the church, I volunteered. I'm not an artsy person, I don't fluff. And, which is what they always say, you know, who's gonna fluff? And that's like, not me. I knew I could carry boxes, hold ladders, pack things up that had come down. So I thought, I can do this. And I found that there was another side to the activity that I didn't expect. I got to know people, and they got to know me, and I started to feel more a part of the parish. When we were dating, we went on a retreat with John Michael Talbot. I had followed him years ago, and I loved his music. The one thing that he said that really touched both of us, and we've talked about often, is the congregation has a responsibility for what they get out of Mass. We're not just spectators. Our responses and participation are important. A part that we don't think about is participation in the sermon. Our attention and eye contact and facial responses during the sermon help the priest. When you're speaking in front of a group, the reaction of the listeners inspires you and helps you give more of yourself. I saw this the other night when we came to practice, and there was just a handful of people from the parish here to help us figure out what to do. And Paul was sitting over there, and I was talking, and the positive response I got from his face made me comfortable about doing this. It softened it's hard to stand up here in front of people, especially because we're 11 o'clockers. We don't usually come to 4, so we don't know as many people. So it's a win-win that you get something out of being more attentive, and the priest's sermon will be more inspiring because of your response. The first Christmas I was here, I was surprised that there wasn't any kind of gift giving for the needy. And so I asked if I could do something, and I got a positive response to, run with it. I was new to the area, so I asked about a few groups that might be able, benefit from some gifts. And I reached out to those places and found out some things their people might be able to use and put them on the list. The giving tree started out small, but the response here at St. Joe's was so big. I was overwhelmed. This year I'm asking for suggestions of more groups to add. Everyone can be part of this project. It's very easy. You take a tag off the tree, buy a present, bring it back on the return Sunday, and if you want to stay after 11 o'clock Mass, you can help sort the gifts by their organizations. Everything's out to the organizations that same day. When I had my kids and they were small, I would always have them take a tag for someone that was their same age, and then have them buy a gift that they would like and give it to the person they didn't know. Giving to someone you don't know has a special meaning for both the giver and the receiver. Soon after I joined St. Joe's, I started feeling like I was missing something. I had been a Eucharistic minister at my old parish. It was the most meaningful thing that I did. In that parish, you had to wait to be asked to be a Eucharistic minister. I had waited a lot of years to become a Eucharistic minister. So when I came here, I thought all parishes did things the same, and that it was going to be many years before I was a Eucharistic minister. And then I couldn't believe it. In the bulletin, it said there was a meeting for anyone who wanted to be a Eucharistic minister. I didn't have to wait. I didn't have to be asked. I could go and volunteer. I was going to be able to give out communion again. The first few times I choked up with joy that I was back doing my favorite thing. When I go back to the pew, I say a prayer of thanksgiving for the privilege of being a Eucharistic minister. I also try to make a point of smiling when I give out communion, so that I'm welcoming to others, and to convey what a special moment this is, not only for them, but for me. We were also asked to be part of Be My Witness, and both of us had been part of Renew years ago. So right away we agreed to be part of it and to host a group at our house. It's been wonderful. The meetings start by discussing the readings for that week, and then we move into our personal experiences and faith sharing. We've learned about each other and ourselves. The members of our group didn't know each other when we started, but now I think we would all call each other friends. I'm proud to say I'm an active member of St. Joe's. I get fulfillment out of what I do. This isn't the part I normally cry at. I usually cry way before this. I got to where I am by reaching out and opening up. I read the bulletin and go on the website to become familiar with what is going on in the parish. I feel that I'm living my faith and look forward to the future involvement. It's not easy leaving a comfortable, familiar parish and coming to where you know one person. By reaching out and taking some chances, I found a wonderful new home. I'm thankful and grateful for St. Joe's and for all of you. Thank you.
Certainly our thanks to Pat and Alan for all that they have been and continue to be for all of us. In the pew racks is commitment cards, and we're going to take some time to fill that out. I do see that some of you have put yours in already, but unlike voting, you can fill out another one here. Because I think that they have kind of challenged us. If we want to be happy here and we want this place to be what we need it to be for our relationship with God, then we need to be doing something. We need to be doing something. Whether that is involved in some ministry, whether that is financially or how. But just for us, as I said last week, just for us to be takers, we're never going to be able to be at peace and to be happy, and we won't be content of what's going on. In order for us to continue to be confident and secure in our relationship with God, we got to be sharing. It's like the gospel, James and John. You know, can we have our place in the line? Well, you got to be part of what's going on. You got to be part of what's going on. And if we just come in these doors and sit in the pews and wait for that final blessing and leave, then we probably are missing an awful lot. That's why we take last weekend and this weekend to give us all an opportunity to be honest with ourselves and our God, and to see how it is that we can be stretched at this time in our lives. We're going to take some time and fill out these cards. bring them up, put them in the basket. When we're finished, we'll continue with Eucharist. If somebody has a difficulty walking up here, or they'd rather not, just hold up your card and one of the hospitality people will be happy to bring it up for you.